Well, remember that Asim Munir was in Trump's America making these comments, and neither Trump nor anyone else from that friendly third country has said anything, even though they lecture the world about everything under the sun, but total pin drop silence over Asim Munir threatening to bomb half the world with nuclear weapons. Well, India is fighting its own war with Trump in the backdrop, remember, but the mood has turned completely dark here in Delhi. Just 10 days ago, it would have been unthinkable for Gadkari to refer to Trump's behavior as dadagiri. And it would have been absolutely unthinkable for the very sober, very decent, very soft-spoken Rajnath Singh, our Raksha Mantri, to call Trump sabke boss, thinks he can do whatever he likes in the world. The mood has turned sour. India is now uncensored when it comes to Trump. It's ab ki baar, Trump ko maar.
Donald Trump tried dadagiri and is getting called out. The first salvo was fired by the Prime Minister himself, who countered Trump's dead economy taunt with this fiery take.
आज भारत दुनिया की फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग मेजर इकोनॉमी है। हम बहुत तेजी से टॉप 3 इकोनॉमी बनने की ओर आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। ये स्पीड हमें कैसे मिली है? ये स्पीड हमें रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म, ट्रांसफॉर्म की स्पिरिट से मिली है।
Last week, the Prime Minister had made India stand clear.
साथियों, हमारे लिए अपने किसानों का हित सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता है। भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ कभी भी समझौता नहीं करेगा।
Then it was the Defence Minister who said that India is सबका boss.
कुछ लोग हैं जो भारत के का विकास जितनी तेजी के साथ हो रहा है उन्हें रास नहीं आ रहा है, और बहुतों के द्वारा यह कोशिश की जा रही है कुछ ऐसा किया जाए ताकि भारत में भारतवासियों के हाथों से जो चीजें तैयार होती हैं वह दुनिया के देशों में जाएं तो उन देशों में बनने वाली चीजों से वह महंगी हो जाएं, ताकि भारत की धरती पर भारतवासियों के हाथों से बनी हुई चीजें जब महंगी हो जाएगी तो दुनिया के दोस्त लोग उसे नहीं खरीदेंगे। भारत जितनी तेजी के साथ आगे बढ़ रहा है, मैं पूरे विश्वास के साथ कहता हूं कि भारत को अब दुनिया की कोई ताकत विश्व की एक बड़ी शक्ति बनने से रोक नहीं सकती है।
The latest to call out Trump's bullying and tariff tantrums is Union Minister Nitin Gadkari.
आज जो दादागिरी करते इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि वो आर्थिक दृष्टि से संपन्न है। दादागिरी इसलिए करते हैं कि उनके पास टेक्नोलॉजी है। अगर उनसे अच्छी टेक्नोलॉजी और रिसोर्सेज हमारे पास आएंगे तो हमें दादागिरी नहीं करनी।
Trump claims India's trade is unfair, but the facts say otherwise. India's weighted average tariff just 4.6%. The US, India's largest trading partner. India isn't caving. India is calling out the tantrums with facts, dignity, and strength. With Sejal Gupta, NDTV Bureau Report.
The mood has turned dark. India is using words through its top ministers like sabke boss and dadagiri, which were unthinkable just a few days ago. There is a rapid free fall in the language being used as India hits back at Trump. But is that really enough? Dr. Anand Ranganathan, best-selling author, commentator, and my friend is with me live. Good to have you, Anand, for the first time here on India Matters. Thanks for your time and thanks for being with me. What do you think of this dadagiri, sabke boss, coming from two ministers who are very, very circumspect, always very careful about their language, but clearly an indicator of how the mood has changed, Anand? What do you think?
Indeed. Good evening, Shiv. It's an absolute pleasure to be on your show. Look, it's unclear who is driving the dump truck. Is it Asim Munir or Donald Trump? All I know is that you are driving the Ferrari, or is it Mercedes? I don't know. No, but
I wish.
Look,
Yeah.
look, the good news is, Shiv, we don't have to handle Trump. We simply need to handle our books.
Yeah.
Trump will sort out himself naturally. Here are 5 things that I suggest as a layman that we should take right now, these steps. Number 1, we need to apply reciprocal tariffs against the US immediately. Kadi ninda by our wonderful ministers is all very well, but actions speak louder than words. Trump, the aggressor, must face his own reflection and double standards for penalizing us over purchasing Russian oil that he and his European allies still acquire. And 2 years ago, they were the ones who urged us to buy Russian oil to steady global oil prices. China, remember, swiftly enacted almost immediately within a day reciprocal tariffs when Trump did. And China gradually escalated them until Trump backed down and reduced his from 150% to 35%. We honestly need to think about this very long and hard. Number 2, we need to bargain, not with the US, but with Russia, to boost the existing 7% discount we are receiving on Russian oil. Actually, Shiv, if we secure the level of discount for the next year that Russia offered us 2 years back, 24%, we'd actually fully neutralize the damage anticipated from these 50% Trump tariffs projected to be 0.3% of GDP by Goldman Sachs. This is, I think, the most straightforward and effortless approach to combat these unfair duties. And number 3, I know this is cheeky, but we should levy a 2% duty labeled as blood tariff on the EU and the US. Since they are the ones who are funding the savage conflict in Ukraine, where civilians are dying solely because EU keeps importing 3 million tons of Russian iron and nickel, 18 million tons of Russian LNG, 8 million tons of Russian oil. The US keeps importing 3.5 million tons of Russian fertilizers, 435 tons of Russian uranium, and 1.1 million tons of Russian oil processed in India. And 4, we should ramp up our Russian oil imports from the present 32% to actually improve it so that we have saved, remember, $26 billion in costs were we purchasing oil from Saudi that we have purchased from Russia. So it augurs very well. And 5th, we should just lie down and wait and see what happens, what Trump does next if we apply these 4 steps.
Okay, very interesting. Anand says, don't worry so much about Trump. He will sort himself out. He's the kind of guy who says exactly the opposite thing with each passing day. We need to focus on what's happening with our actions, our books, our decisions with Russia. Levy attacks on the EU as well. I like that, Anand. Sanjay Jha is also with us. Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat, is also with us. Sanjay, forget about Trump. He will sort himself out. We need to focus on what we are doing on the inside. Do you agree with Anand? Do you think we're doing enough? Statements have been issued. The mood has been set. Strong words have been, sent out by the External Affairs Ministry, towards the United States and Trump. What do you think, Sanjay?
Shiv, good evening. I was hearing Anand speak, and with due apologies to Anand, but a lot of it was nothing but economically irrational prescriptions. How can you even contemplate a counter reciprocal tariff or stuff, because that will only widen the trade deficit? Donald Trump can really come across and impose even higher sanctions. So I really don't think we are understanding this at all. Take a simple example. Even at current tariffs, India is going to probably take a hit at around 30 to 35 billion, if not more, value of exports. I mean, that's what is the normal consensus amongst most financial or economic analysts. And that's significant because what you're talking about, Shiv, is a massive negative repercussion on jobs. Now, please, for God's sake, and this is my kind request to both my fellow panelists, let's not reduce you can't reduce economics to hyper nationalism. These are numbers, and numbers don't lie. Here is the truth, Shiv, that Donald Trump has bullied India. Now, the Russian oil may be a flimsy pretext because everybody knew that India was importing for a long time. That point is conceded. But look at one point, Shiv, and focus on that one data. India's trade surplus of 45 billion accounts for just 4.75% of American trade deficit. America is bullying India when it's actually a fringe contributor on an overall basis to its trade deficit. compared to, say, Canada or Mexico and China.
Okay.
Why is he doing that? And I think the answer lies in one simple fact, that India has allowed itself politically, diplomatically, to be steamrolled on many things that Trump has wanted for a while.
Okay, I'll come back to the political diplomatic part in just a minute. Anand, you want to respond to that? Sanjay says you're being economically irrational and indulging in economic hyper-nationalism. Yeah, Anand.
Well, I mean, that is what Sanjay believes, but I disagree for the simple reason that, please remember, the overarching aim has to be offset the losses that we're going to make as a nation on account of 50% Trump tariffs. Now, the easiest solution is to get that money from somewhere. The second one is to actually reciprocate. And, China also had a trade surplus with America. Is Sanjay suggesting we just lie down and believe in empty rhetoric and do nothing, or give it back in the same coin? I believe we can do both the same things. Please remember, only 5% of our exports are affected by what Trump has done. So it is not going to cause a severe dent. Having said that, I know Sanjay would disagree with this, but the fact remains that by continuing to buy Russian oil and with a promise to increase it, we are going to keep our inflation in check. Whatever Donald Trump or EU allies might want, be damned. We have, as I said, saved $26 billion in the last 3 years. Now, if we were to increase the discounts that we're getting from Russia, as I said, it makes economic sense to offset whatever losses we may get from the Trump tariffs.
Sanjay, quick word, then I'll bring in Ashok Sajjanhar.
I think it's important, Shiv, to recognize one thing, that our contribution in global world trade is approximately around 2 to 2.25%. We have to realize that we are not capable of influencing global trends because we don't have the size for the export market. Quite simply put, Donald Trump is basically telling India that you put a lot of protectionist barriers, which the truth is we did. And while I don't agree that how American consumers are going to benefit, although the government will probably make a lot of revenue in terms of tariff, the truth remains that in the long run, these barriers, trade or monetary, has negative implications for an economy. But India has to recognize that today, by buying that cheap Russian oil, you have to look at the cost benefit. How much are you really saving now? And you probably would be saving around $2 billion or $3 billion, while the hit to your exports is around $35 billion. It's a no-brainer, in my opinion.
Okay.
And Lindsey Graham, by the way, who is an acolyte and a big Trump voice megaphone, he's used words like, we'll tear the hell out of you and ruin your economy.
Yeah.
America has size. Like it or not, America bullies countries. They're doing that to EU. They have done that to all the countries. And we got to recognize that reality.
Ambassador Sajjanhar, what do you think of India's response so far? Language is one thing. What about actions? How do you read that?
Yeah, thank you very much, Shiv, for having me on your show. A fascinating discussion, and I would tend to say that, India has done what it needed to do as far as responding to what Mr. Trump has been saying. We have not, reacted emotionally. We have spoken with dignity. We have spoken with poise. We have rebutted each and every of the comments that are being made by the US administration in terms of buying oil from from Russia. Whether it is our statement, coming from the MEA on the 4th of August and the subsequent one on the 6th of August, we have not traded barbs with Mr. Trump, the language he has used, and I think that's the right thing. Now what we really need to do, in my view, is that we need to follow these words with equally strong actions. You might recall, Shiv, that in Trump 1.0, we had also identified about 28 or so products on which we had imposed tariffs, but the quantities were very small. It was just about 240 million. You would also remember, your listeners will remember that, we kept on postponing the imposition of those penalty tariffs. Okay. Right now, India's economy is a much bigger economy. We can send out a much stronger message. Like at that time, we continue to negotiate, we continue to talk. There is a team coming. I hope it does come here. We will continue to talk. We have made our point of view very clear. You know, you would have seen this.
But just one point just one point on that, and a correction also, that Vinay Quatra has met Lindsey Graham, Sanjay, so that, you know, the engagement is happening, though your point is taken. I think there is a larger point. The other thing is, you know, even though this Indian economy dead nonsense was peddled by certain politicians here, you know, one must also admit that the reason why this is also happening, this bullying is happening, because the Indian economy could be doing a whole lot better. If it was a whole lot better, a whole lot more robust, perhaps this bullying would not happen. But Anand, coming back to you, you know, I agree with you completely when you say, you know, words are fine, but actions need to be taken. We have to, you know, the onus is on us to do it. But would you say, or would you concede also, that the words being used right now indicate that those actions will happen, or at least we hope that they will happen now?
It's a bit difficult to say. I think, Shiv, I just want to expand on this bit further. I think we're conflating two issues. One is the original 25% tariffs, for which I have a different view. The other is the hypocritical imposition of 25% tariffs on account of us buying Russian oil. So we have to stand up to the real bullying. For me, the first part of the tariffs, we need to take decisions that are hard economically to improve ourselves internally. That's a separate matter. But how can we just sit quiet when a country that continues to buy Russian oil, whose allies continue to buy Russian oil, and America has not imposed the similar tariffs on them, like China, like EU, and it imposes on us when 2 years ago it told us to buy Russian oil? Now that is clearly unjust. I believe words are not enough, and I go by first principles. If you're being hypocritical, if you're being unfair to us, we got to hit back.
Sanjay? Yeah.
Well, Shiv, I think Anand basically has answered the question. Why would the Indian government, which has traditionally, historically stood for human rights, why did it compromise its stance? Because America said, buy cheap Russian oil. Would you buy cheap Russian oil? I completely find that argument very disingenuous and specious. And if we did, then today those ramifications is what we are paying for. But the truth is, I think somewhere in between, that end of day, yes, we saw a commercial opportunity to take advantage of it. I don't know how much the Indian consumer gained. If the Indian consumer gained, I think it would have been a different story. But the fact remains that today, and you hit the nail on the head, Indian economy is underperforming. At around a 4 trillion size, India should have been today working on a GDP of 8 to 9%. We are happy with 6%. There are no jobs. And you know, my biggest worry, Shiv, is this. AI is going to take away jobs, and exports are labor intensive. If exports take a hit, you're going to see supply chains and many businesses going, laying off people. And this is already happening as we talk. So if you look at India's overall exposure to America, it's 20% on trade. So we are highly exposed to America. Let's not pretend we are not affected.
Anand, last rebut, and then I'll give the final word to Ambassador Sajjanhar. Yes, yeah. Anand.
Slightly fact check, Sanjay. I know he will not agree to the Keames report of RBI, but we generated 47 million jobs last year. But the fact of the matter is, of course, our economy should be doing 3 or 4 times what it is doing. But then those are structural issues, reforms and everything that I'm afraid Prime Minister Modi is blessed with the kind of opposition he has. Who opposed the farm laws? Had we got the farm laws, we could have catapulted ourselves to a middle income economy. I mean, I don't want to go into those details, but it was the Congress party whose manifestos had those farm laws.
I have to give a rejoinder. Shiv, I have to give a rejoinder to that.
15 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Modi has had an absolute majority government for 10 years, and even now he has a strong majority. It's performed worse than the coalition government of Dr. Manmohan Singh that gave a higher GDP by over 100 basis points. It goes to tell you that Mr. Modi has failed in delivering to the economic promise.
Ambassador Sajjanhar, final word to you. 45 seconds. Final word to you. Do you think decisive action is going to be taken, or is India just waiting for this to blow over and for Trump to change his mind? Realistic assessment.
I think going by past track record, decisive action is definitely going to be taken. I think Mr. Modi has, under Mr. Modi, the economy has performed beautifully. What we were 10th or 11th largest economy in the world 10 years ago, today we are the 4th largest economy, shortly going to become the 3rd largest economy. So and we are the fastest growing major economy. So anyone who sort of, makes this point that economy has not worked is not in tune with the facts.
Okay.
The second point is, the United States never told us to buy Russian oil to refine it and send it out. No, we did it because we wanted to do it. The United States opposed it strongly, but later they saw the reason for it, that if India had not bought that oil and refined it and put it into the international market, then the international prices of oil and refined products would have gone through the roof.
Okay.
So they were able to
5
see
seconds,
the reason that we put.
I'm
The last
completely-
point, no, let me speak.
10 seconds
Shiv,
more,
you
I'm out of
cannot
time. Yeah.
allow people to monopolize the conversation. You must allow me to speak.
Finish
The
quickly,
second
sir.
is, in terms of whether people benefited or not, let's face it, when it is from the oil, money is coming, it doesn't go directly to the people. They are going into the various schemes that the government, whether it is in terms of providing food after COVID,
this has been a very, very interesting conversation. We are going to wait on what that action is going to be. I think we can all agree that action needs to be taken. What that action is, we'll have to wait and see. Anand, Sanjay and Ambassador Sajjanhar, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with me.
Thank you, Shiv.